Hi everybody, good morning. This is Dr. Michael Hyland of Hyland Physical Therapy and Wellness. And today is Wellness Wednesday, which means we're continuing, you got it, leave the falling to the leaves. Today's video, we're going to discuss several topics, three in particular. And number one is going to be why vision plays a huge part in your balance reactions. Number two, how your body adapts to removing vision as a mechanism of balance, And number three, why you should get your vision checked regularly and ensure your prescription is up to date, particularly if you're 65 plus. All right, so there's going to be a little demonstration in this video, which I hope will be kind of a little more interactive and interesting. But first of all, we're going to just talk for a minute about why vision plays a huge part in your balance reactions. If you recall from last week's video, we discussed three mechanisms of balance. We discussed the vestibular system, that's your inner ear. We discussed last week proprioception and how conditions like diabetic neuropathy can take away that sense. And that leaves one last mechanism of balance in the senses, and that is your vision. Vision is a very important one, and that's why we're going to discuss that today. It plays a huge part in your balance reactions because without vision, we are not able to scan the environment around us. Without reference to what is going on around us, we are completely reliant on other senses. Sense of touch, which plays a part in proprioception we talked last week, and your vestibular system of balance, the inner ear. So that's your ability to balance without seeing or feeling anything. Or anyway, that basically you're narrowing it down. If you don't have your vision, you're narrowing it down to two other mechanisms. Without being able to scan your environment, you're relying on the other two mechanisms, and if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. And even if we're not talking in terms of balance, the way we sense movement, the way we sense position is really crucial to our vision. If you're sitting in traffic, and I know other people have experienced this, but in particular, once in a while, if you're sitting in a traffic light, you might not be paying close attention to the other vehicles around you. But you might be looking ahead, maybe daydreaming, and then a vehicle maybe in your peripheral vision might start to drift forward a little bit. Maybe they let their foot off the brake. And I know I've experienced this several times where you see that movement and you think you're moving. You literally feel the movement even though you're not moving. And you slam on the brake even harder, but you realize, oh, I'm not moving, I'm here. I'm doing fine. So the reason that is because your eyes and your vestibular system are basically they're linked and they can't be unlinked. So that's a complicated term with that is called the vestibular ocular reflex. But we're not going to go into that stuff. I just wanted to make sure you understand that vision and your balance and your position sense and when you turn your head and kind of knowing where you are and what's going on around you is crucial with vision and in combination with the inner ear system. So that's why it's important in balance reactions. If you take vision away, you are relying on the other two systems of balance, which it makes it even more important that the other two are strong and are working properly. Number two, I'm going to show you how your body adapts to removing vision as a mechanism of balance. So when you take vision away, I'm going to show you with using a foam balance pad, actually the floor and then the balance pad. Don't need that right now. This is a little tilted, I apologize. Okay, so just on the solid floor, I'm going to show you first. So under ordinary circumstances, we have vision, proprioception, that's your position sense, and your vestibular system, your inner ear, working to maintain your balance. Now, if I put myself in a narrow base, which is the hardest position to stand in is a narrow base of support. So if I put myself in a narrow base and I close my eyes, which you can't see me closing my eyes right now, if I tilt the camera up a little bit more, you might. But point being that if I close my eyes, we're going to be relying on two systems of balance when you're on a solid surface. Yeah, you can see me now. So if I have my feet together, my eyes are closed. Right now, my body is receiving feedback, or my brain rather, is receiving feedback from two mechanisms of balance. My vestibular system in the inner ear and my proprioceptive position sense in my lower body. And even other parts of the body too, my upper trunk. I can tell if I'm moving around. My balance reactions primarily would come from my ankles, because if I'm swaying a little bit, my feet are going to be working to keep that balance solid, and my upper body my trunk to a certain extent will also, keeping erect and not going forward to the side, etc. Now, if I take that down a step further and stand on something soft and squishy, I am removing my body's ability, or essentially removing my body's ability to sense where I am in space, because on a soft surface, the sensation I have in my ankles and the bottoms of my feet is unclear, it's ambiguous. So my feet might be moving all around. So if I close my eyes, I'm taking it down to one system of balance primarily, and that is my vestibular system. So you may not see it, it's subtle, but now that I'm on the foam pad, I'm actually swaying a little bit more in my posture, my upper trunk. My lower body is moving a little bit, and my feet are working more to maintain my balance. But the feedback my body is getting is mainly from the inner ear, telling me that I'm upright and that I'm not falling, because it's almost impossible to tell where my feet are in space on a pad like this. Now, to make this even more difficult, and really not lifelike exactly, but I just wanted to do this for demonstration. An even more difficult position would be tandem. So if I have one foot in front of the other and standing that way, it's a narrow base of support, one leg in front of the other. I still have all my senses intact, vision, proprioception, and vestibular. Now if I take vision away, I'm starting to sway a lot more. Ooh, I lost my balance there. So some days I'm a little stronger on this than others. But you can tell when I take vision out, I'm reliant on my position sense and my vestibular system. Earlier when I lost my balance, I could tell I was about to, so my vestibular system was telling me, you're falling. And I mean, I could feel it in my legs too. But right now I'm solid, so I'm not falling right now. But you can't see it, but my feet and ankles are working really hard to keep me solid with my eyes closed in that position. Now, this isn't going to be pretty, but I can try this on the foam pad, and you'll see a big difference. Now that I take away proprioception as a sense of balance, actually I think, this will probably work. Even just doing that with my eyes open is difficult. So I've got my balance, I'm solid, and now I'm going to close my eyes and show you what happens. Okay, so I had to take a step strategy to catch my balance there. But as you can see, when you continually narrow down those systems of balance, that's where things become more and more difficult in terms of fall prevention. So, that is why vision is important. The third point is why you should get your vision checked regularly and ensure your prescription is up to date, and especially so if you're 65 and older. The reason that that's crucial is because as your vision changes, even if it's subtle changes, over time you're going to lose that ability to scan your environment. So number one, you could trip over obstacles, run into things. That's an obvious thing. But when the chips are down, like let's say it's in the middle of the night and you're getting up to use the bathroom or something, if you don't already use night lights and you're kind of relying on your senses walking through a dark room, and that's the case even if your vision is good already. If you're walking through a dark room, you're taking your vision sense away. So the other two senses of balance, or mechanisms of balance, need to be even better than they already are. So that's the number one point about getting your vision checked is, number one, you want to be able to scan your environment so you can see changes in the surfaces like carpet to tile, etc. Scan your environment for pets or objects in your path. And anyway, number three is just making sure that you have some kind of light on in the evenings, even if it's a small night light, just to be able to lightly illuminate your environment so you can see where you're going. Because as you get to 65 and older, your vestibular system, the nerve impulses can actually slow down over time. Now, they're kind of like muscles. If you flex those nerve impulses by practicing holding your balance with your eyes open, eyes closed, feet together, tandem stance, all those things, you actually will enhance those nerve impulses and they get stronger, just like muscle contractions. So practice makes perfect. You need to work on your balance as you get older to keep those balance reactions strong. Otherwise, if they have a continued decline over time, they will result in more problems and balance issues if your vision also is compromised. So just remember that your vision is crucial, and try to keep your environment lightened or illuminated in the evenings if you're getting up and about. That's going to be the best thing to prevent falls, especially during the night, and keeping your vision checked, cataracts, getting those taken care of, etc., is going to help you in the daytime with issues of scanning your environment, etc. Just as a recap, we talked about why vision plays a huge part in your balance reactions. Number two, how your body adapts to removing vision as a mechanism of balance. We demonstrated that. And number three, why, if you're over 65 especially, you should get your vision checked regularly. Make sure your prescriptions are up to date so that all three of your balance systems are running and like a fine-tuned machine. So that concludes this week's Leave the Falling to the Leaves. Sincerely hope that this was good information and not just repetition of things people already know. I'd like some feedback from that over time. So drop your comments in. If you're live, say live. If you're replay, say replay. And appreciate everybody who joined, who's watching. David, Amber, and Ankit, thank you for watching. And I will catch you next week for Leave the Falling to the Leaves on Wellness Wednesday. As always, you know the drill. Be empowered.